The ancient council chamber floated in the void between stars, its crystalline walls pulsing with soft blue light. Elder Kefter stood at the center of the massive hall, his four arms spread wide as he addressed the gathered representatives. From across the galaxy, his voice carried the weight of 10,000 years as it echoed through the chamber. The humans have begun their expansion beyond their home system, Kefter announced, his words causing immediate whispers among the assembled beings. They must be stopped before they spread their chaos to the civilized worlds. Ambassador Zelenex of the Aquarian Federation waved his tentacles dismissively. The blue-skinned creature had ruled over 17 star systems for 3 centuries and had little patience for the warnings of the ancient Vrex. Elder, with great respect, these humans are barely past their nuclear age. Their technology is primitive, their ships are slow, and their weapons are crude. What threat could they possibly pose to our advanced civilizations? The other ambassadors murmured their agreement. The Corvan representative, a tall insectoid being named Trixville, clicked his mandibles in amusement. Our scouts report that humans still use chemical propulsion to reach their nearest moon. They strap themselves to controlled explosions and hope for the best. Such primitive thinking could never threaten species who have mastered quantum fold technology. Kefter's ancient eyes dimmed with sorrow. He had seen this pattern before, countless times throughout his long life. Young civilizations grew powerful and then grew careless, dismissing threats until it was too late. You speak of their current limitations, but you fail to understand their true nature. I have studied their history, their wars, their remarkable ability to adapt and overcome. Their history shows nothing but constant warfare with their own kind, interrupted Chancellor Corthan of the Zentari Empire. The reptilian being's scales shimmered with contempt. They fight over resources, they destroy their own environment, and they cannot even achieve unity among their own species. How could such a fractured civilization pose any real threat? The elder's voice grew more urgent. That is precisely why they are dangerous. Their constant conflict has made them incredibly resourceful. They have learned to fight with limited resources, to adapt quickly to new challenges, and to never surrender even when facing impossible odds. Their very chaos is their strength. Far beyond the council chamber, in the outer reaches of the Sol system, Captain Lisa Hayes guided her exploration vessel Endeavour through a dense asteroid field. She was unaware that her ship's movements were being monitored by dozens of alien sensors, each one recording every detail of human technology and behavior. Her mission was simple: establish humanity's first permanent outpost beyond the outer rim of their solar system. Navigation, plot a course to asteroid designation Alpha 7, Lisa commanded. The young captain had been chosen for this mission because of her exceptional piloting skills and her ability to remain calm under pressure. We'll set up the mining platform there and begin extraction operations. Engineer Pete Wilson worked diligently in the ship's engine room, making constant adjustments to their primitive fusion drive. The technology was crude by galactic standards, but it was reliable and could be repaired with basic tools. What the watching aliens failed to recognize was that this simplicity was actually an advantage, not a weakness. Meanwhile, on the Corvan homeworld, Military Commander Vexthal reviewed intelligence reports about human behavior patterns. The data showed concerning trends that his superiors chose to ignore. Humans fought wars over the smallest resources, yet they also showed remarkable cooperation when facing external threats. They destroyed their own environment, yet they also showed incredible innovation when forced to solve problems. These creatures are unpredictable, Vexthal reported to his commanding officer. Their tactical responses do not follow logical patterns. They employ strategies that should fail according to all military doctrine, yet they achieve victory through sheer determination and creativity. His superior, General Nexquin, dismissed the report with a wave of his clawed hand. You worry too much about inferior beings. Their unpredictability is simply evidence of their primitive nature. A species that cannot master logical thinking poses no threat to the Corvan Empire. Back in the council chamber, Elder Kefter continued his desperate plea. I implore you to reconsider. My people have observed the rise and fall of civilizations. For millennia, we have learned to recognize the signs of a truly dangerous species. The humans possess something that our advanced civilizations have lost, the ability to evolve rapidly under pressure. Evolution takes millions of years, scoffed Ambassador Zillanex. You speak of impossibilities, Elder. These humans have existed in their current form for mere thousands of years. They cannot possibly adapt faster than species who have had millions of years to perfect their abilities. You misunderstand, Kethter replied patiently. I do not speak of biological evolution, but of cultural and technological adaptation. Watch how they respond to challenges. When faced with an obstacle, they do not simply apply greater force or more advanced technology. They find new ways to think about the problem. They innovate. They improvise. They never give up. The assembled representatives began to grow restless. The Hegemony Council had more pressing matters to discuss than the theoretical threat posed by a primitive species that had barely achieved interstellar travel. The vote was called, and the decision was swift and unanimous. Humanity would be classified as a minor species, requiring minimal observation. As the council members departed to return to their respective domains, Elder Kefta remained alone in the chamber. He had lived through the rise and fall of 17 different galactic civilizations, and he recognized the patterns that others chose to ignore. The signs were all there, a species pushed to its limits, forced to innovate or die, blessed with the perfect combination of intelligence and determination. The old Rex closed his eyes and whispered a prayer to the ancient gods of his people. He prayed that he was wrong, that his fears were simply the paranoid concerns of an aging mind. But deep in his heart he knew the truth. The galaxy had just made a decision that would change everything, and there would be no going back. In the depths of space, Captain Lisa Hayes successfully established humanity's first outpost beyond their solar system. She had no idea that her small achievement had just set in motion events that would reshape the entire galaxy. The elders had warned them about humans, but no one had listened. Soon it would be too late. 3 months after the council decision, the Human Research Station Frontier Base received an unexpected visitor. Dr. Paul Martinez stood in the station's observation deck, his hands trembling with excitement as he watched the massive alien vessel approach through the viewport. This was the moment humanity had dreamed of for centuries. First contact with extraterrestrial intelligence. All stations, this is Control, announced Commander Jake Torres over the station's communication system. We have confirmed alien contact. All personnel are to remain calm and follow established protocols. This is not a drill. The alien ship was unlike anything in human imagination. Its hull seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal, and strange energy patterns danced across its surface. The vessel was easily 10 times larger than the human station. Its advanced design making, the human outpost looked like a collection of tin cans held together with wire and hope. Engineer Katie Bell worked frantically in the station's lower decks, her fingers dancing across makeshift control panels. While the diplomatic preparations continued above, she had detected unusual energy signatures from the alien vessel. Her curiosity drove her to quietly analyze their technology, using every scanner and sensor the station possessed. These readings are incredible, Katie whispered to herself as data flooded her screens. Their power source is generating energy levels that should be impossible. But the patterns are strange, almost like they're not using their systems at full capacity. The Corvan delegation materialized in the station's docking bay in a shower of golden light. Their advanced transporter technology allowed them to beam directly aboard without the need for docking procedures. The tall insectoid beings stood nearly 8 feet high, their chitinous armor gleaming under the station's harsh lighting. Science Officer Nexville led the delegation, his compound eyes scanning the primitive human facilities with barely concealed amusement. The humans had built their station using welded metal plates and simple atmospheric processors. Everything about their technology screamed of crude engineering and limited resources. "Welcome to Frontier Base," Dr. Martinez said, his voice carrying across the docking bay. We come in peace and hope to establish friendly relations with your people. Nexville studied the human scientist with the same interest one might show when observing an unusual insect. Your species shows some promise, he replied in perfect English, his translator device having analyzed human communication patterns within seconds. Perhaps you could serve as useful labor once we establish proper trade relations. The human delegation exchanged glances, their diplomatic training barely masking their growing irritation. Commander Torres stepped forward, extending his hand. In the traditional human greeting, "We appreciate your visit and look forward to learning about your civilization." The Corvan officer ignored the offered handshake, instead walking past the commander to examine the station's structural supports. "Primitive welding techniques," he commented to his subordinates. "They still use metal alloys instead of programmable matter." How quaint. Dr. Martinez attempted to steer the conversation toward scientific cooperation. "We have made significant advances in our understanding of physics and engineering. Perhaps we could share knowledge for mutual benefit." Share knowledge? Nexval saw. Mandibles clicked in what might have been laughter. What knowledge could a species that still uses chemical rockets possibly offer to beings who have mastered quantum-fold technology? Your entire civilization is barely past the Stone Age by galactic standards. In the engineering section, Katie Bell continued her analysis of the alien ship's energy patterns. She had discovered something remarkable. The aliens were using incredibly advanced technology, but they were using it inefficiently. Their power systems were designed for maximum capability rather than maximum efficiency, suggesting they had never needed to conserve resources. "Interesting," she murmured, making notes on her tablet. "They have unlimited power, so they never learn to optimize their systems. That might be useful information someday." The diplomatic meeting continued in the station's main conference room, where the humans had prepared a simple meal as a gesture of goodwill. The Corvan delegation examined the food with scientific curiosity but showed no interest in actually consuming it. "Your nutritional requirements are quite basic," observed Nexville as he scanned the offered meal with a handheld device. "Simple proteins and carbohydrates. We have synthetic foods that could sustain your species indefinitely. Very useful for long-term labor contracts." Commander Torres felt his jaw tighten at the repeated references to humans as potential laborers. "We're interested in establishing diplomatic relations between equals," he said carefully. "Our species has much to offer in terms of creativity and innovation." Creativity? Nexville seemed genuinely puzzled by the concept. "Your species creates art and music, yes. We have observed these activities. Harmless entertainment has its place. But it hardly qualifies as a significant contribution to galactic civilization." The alien officer activated a holographic display showing images of human cities, military installations, and cultural achievements. "Your species shows remarkable diversity in its approaches to problems," he admitted. "However, this diversity also indicates a lack of unified direction. Efficient civilizations achieve consensus quickly and work toward common goals." Dr. Martinez leaned forward with interest. "Our diversity is one of our greatest strengths. When we face challenges, we approach them from multiple angles simultaneously. This allows us to find solutions that might not be obvious to more uniform societies." "Multiple approaches to the same problem indicates inefficiency," Nexville replied dismissively. "Advanced civilizations determine the optimal solution through logical analysis and implement it universally. Your chaotic methods waste time and resources." As the meeting progressed, the humans began to realize that their visitors viewed them as curiosities rather than equals. The Corvan delegation asked detailed questions about human military capabilities, resource distribution, and population centers. Their inquiries had the feeling of a scientific survey rather than diplomatic negotiation. "We would like to establish monitoring stations throughout your space," Nexville announced casually. "For your protection, of course. The galaxy can be dangerous for primitive species. Our advanced sensors would help ensure your safety." The request sent alarm bells ringing through the human delegation. Commander Torres exchanged a meaningful look with Dr. Martinez before responding. We appreciate your concern for our safety, but we prefer to handle our own security matters. Perhaps we could discuss mutual defense agreements instead. Defense agreements? Nextval's compound eyes seemed to glitter with amusement. What defense could your species possibly offer to beings with our technological capabilities? Your weapons. Our chemical-based explosives? Our shields can deflect antimatter bombardments. The meeting concluded with polite but strained farewells. The Corvan delegation departed as suddenly as they had arrived, leaving the human crew to process what had just occurred. Their first contact with alien intelligence had been a sobering experience, revealing that humanity was viewed as little more than an interesting primitive species. As the alien vessel disappeared into the depths of space, Katie Bell compiled her technical analysis into a classified report. The information she had gathered would prove invaluable in the months to come, though none of them realized it yet. The aliens had revealed more about themselves than they intended, and the humans had learned their first valuable lesson about galactic politics. Appearance could be deceiving, and underestimation worked both ways. News of the first contact spread throughout the galaxy like wildfire, reaching every major civilization within days. Chancellor Corthan of the Zentari Empire reviewed the reports from his luxurious throne room, his scaled lips curling into an amused smile as he read the details of the human encounter. These creatures built their first starships using chemical propulsion. Corthan laughed as he shared the report with his military advisors. They actually strapped themselves to controlled explosions to reach their moon. Such primitive thinking could never threaten our quantum-fold technology. His advisors joined in the laughter, their reptilian features displaying clear contempt for the backward human species. The Zentari had conquered 14 star systems using their advanced weaponry and superior tactics. The idea that a species still using chemical rockets could pose any threat seemed absurd. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Admiral Susan Clark sat in her underground command center deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. The facility was humanity's most classified military installation, hidden from alien sensors by layers of rock and electromagnetic shielding. She studied the intelligence reports from the Frontier Base encounter with growing concern. They scanned our station thoroughly, she told her gathered staff officers. Every detail of our technology, our defensive capabilities, our population centers. This wasn't diplomacy. This was reconnaissance. Colonel Frank Davis, the head of military intelligence, nodded grimly. The energy patterns Katie Bell detected suggest they weren't even using their full capabilities. They were holding back, probably to avoid revealing too much about their true strength. Admiral Clark stood and walked to a massive display screen, showing the locations of human colonies and outposts. Begin immediate implementation of Project Prometheus. I want our defensive installations upgraded and our new ships moved to forward positions. If they think we're helpless primitives, let them keep thinking that. In a research facility hidden beneath the Colorado mountains, Dr. Ben Foster made a breakthrough that would change everything. His team had been working for months on fragments of alien technology recovered from various crashed probes over the decades. The work was slow and dangerous, but the results were staggering. The energy matrices are incredibly sophisticated, Dr. Foster explained to his research team. But they're also incredibly wasteful. The aliens have so much power available that they never learn to optimize their systems. Our human engineering, while crude, can actually improve upon their designs. His assistant, Dr. Mary Johnson, looked up from her analysis station. Ben, look at this. Their shield generators use a brute force approach, pumping massive amounts of energy into the defensive barriers. But if we modify the frequency patterns using our knowledge of harmonic resonance, we can achieve the same protection with 1/10 the power requirement. The implications were enormous. Humanity's greatest weakness, their limited resources, had forced them to become incredibly efficient with their technology. The aliens' greatest strength, their unlimited power, had made them complacent and wasteful far from Earth. The Aquarian Federation began establishing monitoring posts near human colonies. Ambassador Zelenex personally oversaw the installation of the first surveillance station, treating the humans like wildlife in a preserve. The aquatic aliens found human behavior patterns fascinating but ultimately predictable. They gather in small groups for social bonding, reported Science Officer Kilther as he observed a human mining colony. Their work patterns are inefficient, with frequent breaks for what they call rest and recreation. They waste significant time on activities that serve no productive purpose. What the aliens failed to notice were the subtle changes in human ship designs. The vessels that passed by their monitoring stations looked identical to the primitive craft they had cataloged earlier, but hidden beneath the familiar exterior were revolutionary improvements. Commander Amy Rodriguez piloted the newest human vessel Phoenix through the outer system, her ship's true capabilities carefully concealed from watching alien eyes. The Phoenix looked like a standard human transport, but it was actually the first vessel to incorporate hybrid human-alien technology. Stealth systems are operational, reported her navigation officer, Lieutenant Carl Brown. Alien sensors are reading us as a standard cargo hauler moving at normal speed. In reality, the Phoenix was moving 3 times faster than any previous human ship, its modified engines using principles reverse-engineered from alien technology. The vessel's hull was lined with adaptive materials that could deflect most forms of scanning, making it effectively invisible to alien surveillance. The galactic powers continued their policy of benign neglect toward humanity. The Hegemony Council classified humans as a developing species requiring minimal supervision. Their military forces were redeployed to deal with more pressing threats, leaving only automated systems to monitor human activities. This decision proved to be a critical mistake. While the aliens watched for signs of primitive human expansion, they missed the subtle indicators of rapid technological advancement. Human ships began appearing in previously unexplored regions, their crews establishing small outposts that were dismissed as harmless mining operations. Captain Steve Wilson established the first hidden human base in the Kepler system, his construction teams working around the clock to build defensive installations disguised as simple mining platforms. The base was designed to appear completely harmless to alien sensors while actually serving as a forward military outpost. "The aliens fly past us every day," Wilson reported to Admiral Clark during a secure transmission. "Their ships are incredibly advanced, but their crews are overconfident. They don't even bother to scan us thoroughly anymore. They've classified us as harmless." On the Corvin homeworld, Commander Vexful continued to file reports about unusual human activities. His sensors had detected strange energy signatures from human space, but his superiors dismissed his concerns as the worries of an overcautious officer. "These humans are adapting their technology faster than any species in recorded history," Vexthal argued during a military briefing. "Their ship designs are changing every few months. This level of innovation should be impossible for a primitive civilization." General Nexquen waved away his concerns. "Innovation born of desperation is not the same as true advancement. They are making small improvements to their crude technology, nothing more. A species that still uses metal hulls and chemical propulsion cannot threaten the Corvin Empire." The Vrex Elder Kefter watched the unfolding events from his ancient observatory, his heart heavy with the knowledge of what was coming. His people had tried to warn the galaxy, but the younger species were too arrogant to listen. The signs were all there for those who knew how to read them. Humanity was not simply advancing their technology. They were learning to think like their enemies while maintaining their own unique advantages. The aliens had shown them the heights of what was possible, and human ingenuity was finding ways to reach those heights using methods the aliens had never considered. The galaxy had made a terrible mistake in underestimating the species from the small blue world. Soon, the cost of that mistake would become clear to all. The elders had warned them about humans, but no one had listened. Now it was almost too late to change course, and the consequences would reshape the galactic order forever. The first sign of trouble came when a Corvin patrol fleet investigating a routine disturbance in human space simply vanished. Commander Vexthal stood on the bridge of his flagship, staring at the empty space where 6 advanced warships had been patrolling just hours before. The search and rescue operation had found only scattered debris and confused energy readings. Impossible, Vexthal muttered as he examined the tactical displays. No human vessel should have been capable of this level of destruction. Their weapons are primitive chemical explosives. Our shields can deflect antimatter bombardments. His tactical officer, Lieutenant Kixville, studied the sensor data with growing confusion. Commander, the energy patterns don't match any known human technology. These readings suggest the use of plasma cannons and quantum torpedoes, but humans don't possess such weapons. 3 star systems away, Captain Helen Moore stood on the bridge of the newly commissioned human battleship Defiance. The massive vessel hung in the darkness between worlds, its hull gleaming with the dull metallic finish that had become standard for human warships. Unlike the flowing, artistic designs favored by alien civilizations, the Defiance was built for one purpose: combat. "Target destroyed, Captain," reported Weapons Officer Lieutenant Bob Stevens. "All 6 enemy vessels eliminated." "No survivors detected." Captain Moore nodded grimly. Her ship represented the culmination of years of secret development, incorporating technologies that the aliens had unknowingly provided during their peaceful first contact missions. The Defiance was equipped with weapons that could penetrate any known alien shielding system. "Signal the fleet," she ordered. "Phase 1 is complete. All ships are to proceed to their assigned positions for Phase 2. The human military had learned valuable lessons from their enemies' arrogance. While the aliens studied humanity like specimens in a laboratory, humans had been studying them like predators studying prey. Every diplomatic meeting, every trade negotiation, every scientific exchange had been an opportunity to gather intelligence and reverse engineer alien technology. Admiral Clark watched the tactical display from her command center deep beneath the Earth's surface. Red dots representing alien positions flickered across the 3-dimensional map, while blue dots showed the locations of human forces. The pieces were finally in position after months of careful planning. "All units report ready," announced Colonel Davis. "The aliens still haven't detected our true fleet strength. Their sensors are reading our ships as standard cargo vessels and mining platforms." The human fleet had been hidden in plain sight, disguised as harmless civilian vessels conducting routine operations throughout human space. The aliens had grown so accustomed to seeing human ships that they no longer bothered to scan them thoroughly. This oversight would prove to be their downfall. Lieutenant Colonel Ryan Davis commanded the stealth vessel Phantom as it approached the Zentari Empire's border fortress at Kepler Station. The massive alien installation bristled with defensive weapons and energy shields, its designers confident that no primitive human technology could threaten such an advanced facility. "Stealth systems holding steady," reported his navigation officer. "Enemy sensors are not detecting our approach. Range to target, 50,000 kilometers and closing." The Phantom was invisible to alien sensors, its hull coated with adaptive materials that absorbed and redirected scanning beams. The technology was based on principles learned from studying alien cloaking devices, but improved through human engineering to be far more efficient than the original designs on Kepler Station. The Zentari commander received the first warning just moments before the facility's shields failed catastrophically. The energy barriers that had protected the station for decades simply collapsed as human weapons found and exploited critical frequency weaknesses. "Impossible," gasped Commander Zorthak as alarms blared throughout the station. "Our shields are rated to withstand direct hits from quantum singularity weapons. How can primitive human technology penetrate our defenses?" The answer came in the form of concentrated plasma beams that sliced through the station's hull like a hot knife through butter. Where the aliens expected crude nuclear weapons, they instead faced sophisticated energy weapons that had been designed specifically to counter their defensive systems. The attack was swift, precise, and devastating. The Zentari had built their fortress to withstand conventional alien weapons, but human tactics were anything but conventional. The assault came from multiple directions simultaneously, using attack patterns that no alien military manual had. Ever considered as news of the attack spread through the galaxy, panic began to grip the various alien governments. The species that had dismissed human capabilities now faced the terrifying reality that they had been systematically outmaneuvered by the very beings they had considered inferior. Emergency sessions were called on every major world. The Aquarian Federation recalled their fleet from the outer systems, while the Corvan Empire mobilized their reserve forces. The Zentari demanded immediate military assistance from their allies. But confusion reigned as no one understood how the humans had achieved such devastating effectiveness. General Carroll Stevens commanded the human expeditionary force from the bridge of the Dreadnought Sovereign. The massive warship was larger than anything humanity had ever built before. Its construction made possible by combining human engineering efficiency with alien technological principles. Signal all alien governments, she ordered. Broadcast on all frequencies and in all known languages. The message that followed would be remembered throughout galactic history. General Stevens appeared on screens across hundreds of worlds, her image transmitted by the most powerful communication array ever constructed by human hands. People of the galaxy, she began, her voice carrying the authority of someone who had just demonstrated humanity's true capabilities. For too long, you have treated us as primitive curiosities. You have studied us like animals in a zoo, dismissed our achievements, and planned to use us as labor for your empires. The alien leaders, watching the broadcast, felt a chill run through their bodies as they realized the full implications of what they were witnessing. The humans had not simply acquired advanced weapons. They had fundamentally changed the balance of power in the galaxy. We tried diplomacy, General Stevens continued. We offered friendship and cooperation. We extended our hands in peace only to have them slapped away by beings who thought themselves superior. You responded to our goodwill with condescension and threats. The human fleet had struck at 3 major alien installations simultaneously, each attack demonstrating capabilities that should have been impossible for a species that had been dismissed as primitive. The coordinated assault revealed a level of strategic planning and technological sophistication that challenged every assumption the aliens had made about humanity. You underestimated us because you thought our chaos was weakness, the general concluded. You were wrong. Our diversity is our strength. Our conflicts have taught us to adapt, to innovate, and to never surrender. Now you will learn why our elders taught us to prepare for war while hoping for peace. As the transmission ended, the galaxy found itself facing a new reality. The species they had ignored and dismissed had not only joined the ranks of advanced civilizations, but had potentially surpassed them. The age of alien dominance was ending, and the age of human ingenuity was about to begin. The Vrex Elder Kethter stood before the Emergency Galactic Council, his ancient form trembling with a mixture of vindication and sorrow. Around him, the representatives of dozens of species clamored for explanations about how the primitive humans had managed to cripple 3 major military installations in less than a week. I warned you, Kethter spoke, his voice cutting through the chaos like a blade. For 10,000 years, my people have watched species rise and fall across this galaxy. We learned to recognize the signs of a truly dangerous civilization. But you would not listen to the words of old fools. Chancellor Corthan of the Zentari Empire slammed his scaled fist against the council table. How could we have known? Their technology was primitive, their ships were slow, their weapons were chemical explosives. Nothing in their behavior suggested they possessed such capabilities. The elder's eyes dimmed with ancient sadness. That is precisely why they are so dangerous. They learned to hide their true strength while studying ours. Every moment you spent dismissing them as inferior, they spent learning how to defeat you. Admiral Susan Clark transmitted her terms to the assembled galactic powers from the bridge of the massive human dreadnought Sovereign. The ship hung in space near the council chambers, its weapons powered but not yet targeted. The message was clear. Humanity was ready to negotiate, but only from a position of strength. Representatives of the galactic community, Admiral Clark, began her image appearing on screens throughout the chamber. We did not choose this path. We sought friendship and cooperation. We offered our hand in peace, and you tried to place chains upon our wrists. The alien delegates watched in stunned silence as tactical displays showed the true size of the human fleet. Ships that had been dismissed as cargo haulers and mining vessels revealed themselves as advanced warships. The humans had hidden an entire armada in plain sight. We studied your histories, Admiral Clark explained during the tense negotiations that followed. Every species here achieved dominance through conquest, then grew complacent in your superiority. You assumed we would follow the same pattern of rise and stagnation. You were wrong. Ambassador Zelenex of the Aquarian Federation spoke with a trembling voice. What do you want from us? What are your terms for peace? Admiral Clark's expression remained stern but not cruel. We want what we have always wanted, to be treated as equals. No more monitoring stations in our space without permission. No more condescending offers to use us as laborers. No more dismissing our achievements as the fumbling of primitives. Captain Troy Mitchell led the human peacekeeping fleet as it established patrol routes throughout the disputed sectors. His orders were clear: maintain the ceasefire, but be prepared for any species that might attempt to test humanity's newfound power. The alien governments were still reeling from the shock of their military defeats. Sir, we're receiving surrender requests from the Corvan Third Fleet, reported his communications officer. They're requesting safe passage back to their home systems. Captain Mitchell nodded. Grant their request. We're not conquerors, we're peacekeepers. Let them return home with the knowledge that we could have destroyed them but chose mercy instead. The Corvan Empire, facing internal rebellion as news of their military failures spread throughout their territory, sued for peace within days of the initial attacks. Their proud warrior culture had been humbled by a species they had considered fit only for manual labor. Commander Vexthal, now a prisoner of war aboard a human vessel, struggled to understand how his superior technology had been so easily defeated. Your weapons are more advanced than ours, he admitted to his human captors. But how did you learn to use them so effectively? We have been perfecting our military tactics for thousands of years. Captain Helen Moore sat across from the defeated Corvan officer in the detention facility aboard the Defiance. That's exactly the problem. You perfected your tactics and then stopped learning. We never had the luxury of perfection. We had to keep adapting, keep improving, keep finding new ways to solve old problems. Dr. Paul Martinez, now serving as humanity's chief xenobiologist and diplomatic advisor, worked with warmed alien scientists to establish new protocols for interspecies cooperation. His research had revealed that human adaptability and innovation, traits the aliens had dismissed as chaotic, were actually humanity's greatest strengths. The key difference, Dr. Martinez explained to a gathering of alien researchers, is that we never stopped questioning our assumptions. When you achieved technological superiority, you assumed your methods were the best possible. We assumed our methods could always be improved. The Zentari Empire collapsed within a month of the human attacks. Their rigid hierarchical structure could not adapt to the new reality of human technological superiority. Rebellions broke out on 17 worlds as subject species saw an opportunity to throw off their oppressors. General Carol Stevens worked with local resistance movements to establish new governments based on cooperation rather than conquest. Freedom is not something we can give you, she told the leaders of the newly liberated worlds. It's something you must take and defend for yourselves. The Aquarian Federation, perhaps the most adaptable of the alien powers, was the first to establish genuine diplomatic relations with humanity. Ambassador Zelenex personally traveled to Earth to sign the first interspecies equality treaty in galactic history. We were wrong about your people, he admitted to Dr. Martinez during the signing ceremony. We saw your conflicts and assumed they were signs of weakness. We failed to understand that your struggles made you stronger. Dr. Ben Foster continued his research into hybrid human-alien technology, but now with willing alien partners rather than captured fragments. The combination of human efficiency and alien capability produced innovations that neither species could have achieved alone. Working together, we can accomplish things that seemed impossible, Dr. Foster explained to his mixed human-alien research team. Our different approaches to problem-solving complement each other perfectly. The galaxy had learned too late that the species they had ignored and underestimated possessed something their advanced civilizations had lost: the ability to evolve, adapt, and overcome seemingly impossible odds. The Elders' warnings had been proven correct, but the cost of that lesson would reshape galactic politics for generations to come. Elder Kefter watched the transformation with mixed emotions from his ancient observatory. The galaxy was changing in ways that no one could have predicted. Perhaps, he whispered to himself, this is how true civilization begins. Not with conquest, but with the humility to learn from those we once dismissed. As the new treaties were signed and trade agreements established, one truth became clear to all. Humanity had not merely joined the galactic community. They had fundamentally changed it. The age of complacent civilizations ruling through technological superiority was over. The age of human ingenuity, determination, and endless adaptation had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same again.